Novak Djokovic. With 86 ATP singles titles, 37 Masters events, and 20 Grand Slams, few tennis players have achieved what Djokovic has. Currently ranked world #1 and a total record of 365 weeks, Djokovic has dominated the sport for the last 10 years.
I played against a player who did everything perfect. I never saw nobody playing a tennis like this ever.
Novak's been so dominant for the last 2 years. His track record over the last 2 years has just been extraordinarily good. And so when you're the #1 in the world for that amount of time, everybody's trying to beat you.
But he's a champion, a champion's mentality. He knows what it takes to win, and he's full on it.
However, things haven't always been brand deals and Grand Slams for the Serbian superstar. Tennis, one of the oldest and most exclusive sports in the world. Known as the sport of kings, tennis is rooted in the upper class.
Well, Virginia Sherrill. We don't see much of the beauteous Virginia these days. She's usually in London. Wonder if we know any of these energetic tennis players. Why, sure. Here's Paul Lucas warming up for a hot game of doubles. He has a gallery, too. Joan Bennett and her producer hubby, Gene Markey, are interested in amused onlookers. Another tennis enthusiast, Reginald Owen, strips for action. Good luck, Reggie, old thing.
From the early days of lawn tennis to the now 100+ miles per hour serves, the game has rapidly evolved. And as the game has evolved, so have people's mindsets.
A new tennis queen was born. Althea Gibson of New York became the first of her race to win the title at Wimbledon, England. And she won the U.S. Nationals, too. Sportsmen everywhere applauded Althea's triumph and shared in her moment of glory when Queen Elizabeth herself presented the symbol of victory to the girl from Harlem, who became the toast of the tennis world in 1957.
After Althea Gibson's 1957 triumph, tennis, a sport that was once reserved for royalty and the highest of society, was now being watched and played by people all over the world. It is with this newfound reach, tennis has made it to some of the most unlikely places and given us some of the greatest players of all time.
It is the start of one of the largest peacekeeping operations in the history of the UN. The first of some 14,000 troops drawn from 31 different countries. The Indian UN force commander and his senior officers have been given the difficult, some would say impossible, task of bringing peace to this divided country.
Born in Serbia, Djokovic found most of his childhood surrounded by a bloody civil war.
There's already a small UN liaison force here, deployed with both Serbian and Croatian troops. It can claim to have played a vital role in maintaining the current ceasefire. This multinational team, based in Sector East near Vukovar, provide a channel of communication to deal with the daily breaches of the ceasefire from both sides.
Growing up in the war-torn city of Belgrade, bombings and firefights were a regular occurrence.
From a Serbian observation post, you can see the difficulties that will face the UN troops in just this one sector. Croatian snipers remain in place in the grain silo. The troops face each other across a few hundred yards of mined land, and every day there are violations of the ceasefire.
Few soldiers in Vukovar thought the latest peace deadline would make much difference to their war. At 11 o'clock this morning, 11 hours after the deadline passed, the rumble of cannon fire, artillery and machine guns opened up again over this strategic Croatian town.
News in the north and southwestern areas. Serbian troops have been reported as conducting brutal and violent attacks on Kosovo Albanians and of kidnapping of leading intellectuals.
Reports have been received of full-scale reprisals against towns in Kosovo. and we believe that 2 villages in northeastern Albania were shelled yesterday.
For the long-suffering civilians of the shattered village of Mirkovci, who only now are starting to return home, the arrival of the blue helmets is eagerly awaited. I hope the UN will bring peace, says Miro Djokovic. I can only farm one field because of the snipers. Federal Army troops in this sector also welcome the peacekeeping force, but it's still not certain whether the Serbian irregulars who fight with them share that view.
Despite the many hurdles to overcome, Djokovic found tennis when in the summer of 1991, he held a tennis racket for the first time at a Helena Gencic training camp. Training in some of the worst conditions imaginable, Djokovic sharpened his skills to an elite level.
Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody. Okay, so this is my favorite tennis wall in the entire world, right here. All right, so this is this wall that survived the bombing and survived many different hits. The holes that you see on the walls are the consequence of the bombs during bombings. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know, on the other hand, it's nice to see that the wall itself endured.
Novak's skills didn't go unnoticed when in 1999, as a 13-year-old schoolboy, Djokovic went to train in Munich with the renowned tennis coach Nikola Pilic. Croatian-born Nikola saw past the political implications of training a young Serbian boy, as their home nations were entangled in a bitter war.
The fighting left at least 3 dead, 2 Serbian militiamen and 1 civilian. There are no details of the injured. Across the city's main bridge, nervous Croatian soldiers watch and wait for an offensive they fear will soon come. This whole eastern province now isolated by the Serbs.
Now training in some of the best facilities in the world, Djokovic found success in Nikola's academy. And by 2001, he ended the year as triple European champion, while also winning the silver medal of the World Junior Championship for Yugoslavia. However, while Djokovic was finding success on the junior circuit, a new era was beginning in men's tennis.
Today was Roger Federer's first Wimbledon final, his first Grand Slam win. Nobody thinks for a second that it will be his last. He's always been tipped as a future champion, and today he showed why.
These tennis fans have just seen Roger Federer prove yet again that on his day he's too much for anyone.
Between 2005 and 2007 was dominated by Swiss player Roger Federer and Spanish player Rafael Nadal.
How do you think history will rate Roger Federer?
Roger Federer, it's funny because they were saying that he may be the greatest player of all time, yet he's not the greatest player of his generation. Maybe Nadal is better than Federer.
They won 11 consecutive majors between them, meeting in every French Open and Wimbledon final from 2006 to 2008. Nadal won 3 consecutive French Open titles. And from 2005 to 2010, they ended every season as the top 2 players in the world.
I'd like to play as long as possible, as long as, you know, the body allows it. So I'd like to play as long as possible so I can play through many different generations like the golfers do, you know. I get inspired by, look, Agassi playing for a very long time, things like that. So I'm looking forward to playing many more years to come.
With no intentions of leaving the game, the Federer-Nadal era of domination seemingly had no end. Positioned comfortably at number 1 and 2, Djokovic had a long way to go before catching tennis's superstars. Djokovic began making waves in 2006 after making his first quarterfinal appearance at a Grand Slam event, the French Open, held at the famous Roland Garros, Paris, and won the previous year by Nadal. Djokovic had a lot to prove. Making it to the quarterfinals and then the fourth round of Wimbledon later on in the season, Djokovic was climbing the world rankings, achieving top 40 by the end of the year. However, Djokovic's season was still plagued by losses to tennis's top two, losing out to Federer at Monte Carlo, then again in the Davis Cup, and Nadal at Roland Garros. Djokovic still had a lot to do before he was competing on their level. With Federer taking home 3 out of 4 majors and Nadal clinching the last, the playing field was anything but even in 2006. Determined to reach the heights of tennis's top two, Djokovic made big changes in 2007, bringing in Marian Vaida as head coach. Djokovic took his training to the next level, sharpening his skills on all surfaces with only one goal in mind.
I think every athlete, not just a tennis player, when they have a dream to be best in what they do. One of the biggest, I think, challenges that a professional tennis player can face in today's tennis is the transition from clay courts to grass courts, from the slowest to the fastest surface. On clay, there's a lot of sliding, high bounce. It's just completely different surface. Grass, lower bounce, not as fast as it was maybe 20 years ago. We don't have as many of serve and volley players nowadays. The game is based more on the baseline. But still, grass requires, adjustment in the movement, especially. Requires a lot of mental strength, because most of the matches that you play, have at least 1 or 2 tie breaks.
Having now solidified his spot as a top 40 tennis player, Djokovic worked hard to climb the rankings. Determined to achieve his dreams, his fitness and play needed to improve. With new head coach Marian Vaida, Djokovic was playing better than ever, and the hard work paid off when he competed at the Rogers Cup in Montreal. With an impressive start to the tournament, beating world number 3 Roddick in the quarters and world number 2 Nadal in the semifinals, Djokovic had one more hurdle to overcome before claiming his first ATP Masters title. World number 1, Roger Federer. With an impressive 11 Grand Slam titles, 12 ATP Masters events, and 3 end-of-year finals, by 2007, Federer was a powerhouse, entering the year with a huge 41-match winning streak. Before the Montreal final, Federer had already won 2 Grand Slam events that year, equaling him with Bjorn Borg for the record of 5 consecutive Wimbledon wins. With a lot to prove, Djokovic was ready for the first big challenge of his career. After a significant performance at Montreal to claim his second Masters title, Djokovic saw himself catapulted up the rankings, finishing the year in the top 3. Djokovic had a promising start to 2008, winning his first Grand Slam title, the Australian Open. This marked the first time since 2005 a Grand Slam tournament hadn't been won by Federer or Nadal. However, having seemingly plateaued at number 3, holding the position for 3 consecutive years, Djokovic struggled to break the Nadal-Federer era. But nobody expected what was to come in 2011.
I needed to have the right mindset. I needed to think positively, meaning I need to think about how long the streak will go, not when it will end.
But in the end, Andy Murray was simply no match for Novak Djokovic. 6-4, 6-2, 6-3. The champagne remained on ice.
Djokovic was the hot favourite to win this, and I mean, he was just phenomenal today, so Murray had a mount to climb.
Winning the Australian Open to claim his second Grand Slam title, Djokovic appeared unbeatable.
Around French Open, you know, obviously because it was the second Grand Slam of the year, I still haven't lost a match up to then, and everybody was talking about the streak, everybody was wondering when it's going to end, who is going to win against me, and you know, all these kind of things. So it all added up, but I think even though I had the fantastic French Open, and after that, what makes me even more proud of my success is that I recovered, you know, after French Open, after that loss in semi-final, and won Wimbledon, which was, you know, the biggest success of my career. I mean, week after week, I was playing better and better. I was winning, you know, tournaments, and I was winning tough finals against Rafa, you know, 4 in a row, and it just kept going. And of course, when you are on that confidence roll, you have a feeling that nothing can stop you.
Dominating the 2011 season, winning 10 tournaments in total, including 3 Grand Slam titles and a record-breaking 5 ATP Masters titles, Djokovic was fast becoming a superstar. He concluded the season with a 70-6 record, whilst also achieving a childhood dream.
I have achieved that dream, and I have achieved my lifetime goal to become number 1.
Having now achieved number 1, Djokovic took the tennis world by storm.
Do I have something left? Of course I do. I mean, I'm only still 24, and this is what I'm born for, you know, to be a professional tennis player. I've dedicated my whole life to this sport, and I want to win more majors. You know, I want to win more titles, and that's something that gives me a lot of motivation.
Continuing his dominance into 2012, Djokovic retained his Australian Open title for 2 years in a row. However, he failed to replicate the historic 2011 season, reaching 6 finals between 2012 and 2013, only winning 2 of them. It was clear a change was needed when at the 2013 Wimbledon final, Djokovic once again faced Andy Murray.
He's a very good player. He's one of the most talented players that I have seen, and he has the quality to win a major. And I'm sure he will do that in the next couple of years. I mean, he has a lot of time to come as well. I mean, he's been playing really well in the last 3 months, and he's been a couple of times in the finals of a Grand Slams. He's an all-round player. He can play on any surface.
Having previously beaten Murray at the Australian Open, Djokovic went into the match the favorite. However, with Wimbledon being a home tournament for Murray, it was clear who the support was behind.
You know, in all sports, you know, playing in front of a home crowd is of benefit. You know, if Man United were playing Barcelona, I'm sure the Man United fans or the manager would much rather they're playing them at home than away. That's just, you know, how sport works. So, you know, always once I get on the court, it helps. You know, you tend to play good tennis when you've got the crowd behind you, and that always helps.
The Duchess of Cambridge's parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, also keen tennis fans, were hoping for a Murray win.
Of course.
Sharing their optimism, the mother of the moment, Judy Murray, handed out drinks to the hundreds who'd come to support her son.
He's just got to win today.
Home fans have a renewed and for once justifiable optimism in the name that they back.
Go on, Andy!
The last time these courts were marked out saw that name etched on an Olympic gold medal. And one lady who has camped overnight for tickets for 40 years believes Andy Murray is set for a Wimbledon repeat.
I should be crying, happy, jumping, excited, and I'll be doing all this. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not only for me, but I think it's tough for the opponents as well. You know, when the whole crowd's behind you, it can be hard to play. I mean, I've felt it before in it when I played against home players from other countries, and it is tough to play in those sort of atmospheres.
It was incredible, yeah. I mean, I was delighted to be obviously commentating on it, but yeah, to see Andy deal with the pressure and the expectation, and finally win Wimbledon, and obviously the 77 years. It's a phenomenal achievement, and he deserves everything he gets. I mean, it's a huge day in British sport. Obviously, I think for me, Wimbledon is the biggest annual sporting event there is, and I'm probably a bit biased, but for him to win the tournament after the last British player being Fred Perry, it is an unbelievable achievement, and I think he'll kick on from it.
I'm good. Today is the new day. Of course, I played the finals of Wimbledon. What more can I ask for? Of course, title would be even better, but there was another player who was better than me on the court. In that sport, you cannot win all the matches.
And was it heartbreaking for you to lose?
Well, of course it hurts. I'm a professional tennis player, and I compete to win all my matches. And at this level, it's always hard. But again, I'm saying today is a new day, and I moved on, and I congratulated my opponent. And tonight I will focus on this beautiful evening.
After a disappointing loss against Murray, Djokovic saw himself losing the #1 ranking he'd worked so hard for. At the end of the 2013 season, 6-time Grand Slam champion, former world #1, and the youngest ever Wimbledon winner, Boris Becker became Djokovic's new head coach.
The simple theory about you, Novak, was that you were a very good player, you went to gluten-free diet, and you became an incredible player. Is it as simple as that?
With a new focus on diet and mental preparation, Becker knew what it took to give Novak a competitive mental advantage.
I understand that people are trying to extract, I would say, the secret of success, the magic potion, whatever I'm drinking or eating that made me the player I am. But it's not as simple as that. Really, it takes a lot of time, a lot of years and energy spent in understanding yourself, your body, your needs, how to challenge, accept the challenge, how to overcome mental obstacles, fears, doubts. Everybody has those problems, and it's not only about a diet change. And when I kind of left out the gluten out of my everyday diet, that I suddenly, saw sunshine, and I'm ever since on top of the hill. It's not like that, but it's definitely one big part of the change that I've experienced on the way. Well, of course, Grand Slams and Olympic Games are the priority of the season, but it's a long season, so I can't really predict what's going to happen or guarantee if I'm going to win any of the Grand Slams or all 4 Grand Slams. Of course, I'm going to try to win every tournament and every Grand Slam that I play on.
Djokovic entered 2014 with a bang. Beginning the new year ranked #2, competition was as fierce as always.
I still consider Federer, Murray, and Nadal as my biggest competitors.
Beating Federer at Indian Wells and Nadal at the Miami Masters, Djokovic hit the ground running.
It's easy to analyze. I played against a player who did everything perfect. I never saw nobody playing a tennis like this ever. Since I know this sport, I never saw somebody playing at this level.
Playing some of the best tennis of his career, it didn't take him long to return to dominance. Keeping up the form, Djokovic faced Federer again, this time at the Wimbledon finals. Hoping to clinch his first Grand Slam of the year and reclaim his spot at #1, Djokovic went to Wimbledon, the favorite. Defeating Roger Federer in 5 sets to claim his first Grand Slam of the year, Djokovic reclaimed his spot as world #1. And that wasn't the only thing worth celebrating.
Well, congratulations, a fantastic win, another title for you. And this is quite a momentous week for you, isn't it? Did thoughts of your wife-to-be and the marriage and the wedding enter your head at all during the match?
No. I was too committed to what was happening on the court, but before the match, of course, I was thinking about all the joyful moments that I'm going to experience with my wife-to-be. It's lovely, you know. It's a new chapter of my life, and I enjoy it. And I was actually saying already in the last 12 months or so how that has positively reflected on my tennis and on my mindset and my motivation, and actually finding the meaning and the purpose to to whatever I'm doing.
With a newfound motivation, Djokovic was solidifying himself as one of the greatest tennis players of all time. By 2015, he'd come a long way from his humble roots in Serbia. Now playing tennis at one of the highest levels ever seen, it wasn't long before Djokovic started claiming more Grand Slams, beating Andy Murray to claim a record-breaking 5th Australian Open title, and Roger Federer to retain his Wimbledon title from 2014 and the US Open. Djokovic now held 3 out of 4 Grand Slam titles.
Novak is having an amazing season. I want to, I test him after the US Open, but I want to say today in a public way, it's amazing the way that he's playing during the whole season. The mental strength and the level of tennis is difficult to equal, so just congrats for that.
Continuing his form into 2016, winning the Australian Open for a 6th time, it seemed as though nothing would stop him. Having seemingly elevated himself to a level above tennis's other top 3, Djokovic broke his own ATP ranking points record. His run was so dominant that numbers 2 and 3, Andy Murray and Roger Federer, could have combined their points and still not had enough to pass him. And his dominance didn't stop there when Djokovic had the chance to make history when he faced Murray in the 2016 French Open, giving him the opportunity to hold all 4 Grand Slams simultaneously.
C'est le match. Djokovic. 3 manches à 1. 3-6, 6-1, 6-2, 6-4.
With his French Open triumph, Djokovic became the 8th player in history to achieve a career Grand Slam, the 3rd player in history to hold all 4 Grand Slam titles at the same time, and the 1st player ever to win $100 million in prize money. And despite the success, Djokovic has always found a way to give back.
This award that serves as an acknowledgement for my foundation, that is still a relatively young foundation, but we've been trying to do as much as work as we can in helping a lot of young people around the world and changing their lives for better.
He's just a great guy. I love that he gives back to his country. I love that it's a charity that helps kids. I love what he does for the kids with the school, the education. And I think, you know, those of us that have made something in life that have been a little bit more fortunate, you know, it's our part to really give back and do the best that we can, especially never forgetting where you came from.
It's just the beginning, and I'm very excited to and also fortunate to be in this position, to be you know, playing the sport that I love the most, to be best in it, to play the major tournaments, to compete for biggest titles, but not many kids around Serbia and around the world have this privilege, unfortunately. Especially from my country, that is a small country, poor country that has had a lot of war problems and economical problems in the last 20, 30 years. So these kids need a confidence, and we are trying to give them that confidence through our support and encouragement to dream.
That's Novak. I met him at a charity event that he had nothing to do with. He wasn't paid to be there, there wasn't his sponsor, and we played doubles together, and he was a genius.
Well, I'm very excited to be partnering with Novak and the Djokovic Foundation, because what he is doing in Serbia has been a dream for us.
There are many kids around the world who don't have an opportunity to realize their dream. From my personal experience, I can proudly say that I have realized my dreams, but I was very fortunate, and I have the responsibility on behalf of my foundation to receive this award. This is a great inspiration, and hopefully all the people who are working very hard in our foundation will be inspired and give their best and change many more lives for the better. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Novak's been so dominant for the last 2 years. His track record over the last 2 years has just been extraordinarily good. And so when you're the #1 in the world for that amount of time, everybody's trying to beat you.
Having now sat at #1 for a total of 223 weeks, Djokovic seemed unstoppable. However, after disappointing results at Paris and Shanghai, Djokovic's #1 spot wasn't secure.
So it wasn't really just a match against Novak. Because that #1 ranking was at stake, that really refocused the mind.
Yeah, I think that was obviously the prize.
Losing out to Murray at the end-of-year finals, Djokovic lost his #1 ranking.
You know, for Andy, it was like, right, I've got a point to prove. You know, I became #1, and actually, here's the perfect end to the season, and he really took it on and got there. So it was tremendous to watch.
Well, look, you know, you can't expect things to go perfectly smoothly every single year, all the time. I mean, we all humans, we all experience our ups and downs, and you know, you learn from those experiences.
After a disappointing end to what could have been the greatest season of his career, Djokovic split with head coach Boris Becker. After 3 years and 6 majors, a change was needed. After what seemed to be a slump in form, Djokovic failed to recover as injuries set his season back even further.
Well, I've faced this kind of circumstances before, where you know you're maybe not at your best physically, and you have to work your way through and figure out what's working for you best in terms of preparation, recovery. You know, we've learned how to play through pain. You know, professional athletes are very familiar with pain on a daily basis. Basically, you know, whether it's just a small stiffness, a tightness, a soreness, whatever you want to call it, or sometimes something even bigger. You know, there are times when you have to take anti-inflammatories. There are times when you try to do it without the tablets, and you know, I'm sure all the athletes can relate to that. They understand that, and me personally, I'm against, you know, tablets and anti-inflammatories, but at times I have to take them because, you know, I got to play a match tomorrow. If I'm thinking about it now and kind of taking the percentage of the matches where I feel always 100%, and where I don't feel, I think there's less than 50% where I feel 100%. Completely, let's say, taking emotional, mental and physical aspects in consideration.
Playing through the pain, Djokovic plummeted to 12th in the world, cutting his season short after revealing he needed surgery.
Doneo sam odluku da odmaram i da napravim pauzu do kraja sezone, dakle neću igrati ni jedan teniski turnir, zvanični, takmičenje do kraja sezone 2017. godine. Ovo je neka povreda koju vučem već 1,5 godina i predstavljala mi je problem na mnogim turnirima u posljednjih 1,5 dana, ali recimo u posljednjih mjesec do 2 dana je eskalirala.
Needing someone that knew what it took to make a comeback, Andre Agassi became Djokovic's new head coach.
What if I find reasons to do this and reasons to fight back and to climb back from 140 in the world to #1 in the world? What if I find my own reasons? And I started to look for those reasons. What is it that pushes my buttons with tennis? And it was connecting with people and making a difference in their lives. And then I just kept reminding myself, control what you can. You can't control where the ball goes. You can't control your focus, your discipline, your shot selection, your work ethic, your execution. And that's when I started the long road back to #1 in the world.
And he shares his thoughts. He obviously wants me to share what I feel and how I see things. And it's still quite early in the relationship, so we're still getting to know each other, getting a sense of how we go about tennis, about life, and what are our perspectives and analysis of the match. So, but so far we've managed to connect very quickly. So it's a great thing.
I'm really pleased with the way the surgery went, because it allowed me to be only 5 weeks after the surgery back on the court. And I was very anxious to be back on the court to compete, and very impatient because I was not ready emotionally, and my game was not there, not even close. But in my mind, I kind of knowing what I'm capable of and the quality of my tennis, I felt like it's not going to take much time for me to get there, and that's where I had the reality check.
Djokovic struggled to get back on track, losing to world number 109 Taro Daniel at Indian Wells and Benoit Paire at the Miami Open in straight sets, falling even further to 22nd in the world.
And then for several months I was experiencing some really challenging and difficult moments mentally on the court, where I was questioning everything and really doubting as well.
For me, it's strange. I'm approaching helping Novak the same way I kind of played, which is I'm kind of only thinking about one person, which is the next one.
Well, let me ask you a very quick question about Novak then. What do you put down to his relative off form in the last year?
Yeah, well, tennis is the heart, the mind, the body, and it demands all of it to be in sync and to be, it's like a bank account. It better be balanced, right? And if you take more out of your bank account than you put in, sooner or later they call that bankruptcy. So, what he's done was so remarkable, but it comes with an expenditure.
But in the end of the day, I had a great support of my family and people around me that have trusted the process and that have encouraged me in those moments and empowered me in a way to really be positive and optimistic and but also patient.
This time a year ago, obviously you came into grassroots season holding all 4 slams. How different do you feel now mentally? Is it liberating, coming in maybe less of a favourite?
Yeah, in a way it is, to be honest. I mean, I've had, very fortunate and privileged to have so much success in the last 8-9 years, and kind of entered most of the tournaments as one of the biggest favorites to win it. And so for a change, it's good to not be one of the top favorites, and it is, as you've mentioned the term, liberating a little bit. It releases a bit of the pressure that is always there. I mean, you still feel it. It's part of who I am, what I do, and what I have achieved so far has added to those expectations from the people around, and I try to lower those expectations myself, you know, because I really want to be as much as I can in this stage of my life and career in the moment, and trying to focus only on what comes up next. So, which doesn't mean that I don't want to win the trophies or so forth. Of course, I do, and that's why I'm playing professional tennis. But it's just that I need to take things a bit slower and trying to recalibrate so I can get to the level where I want to get.
Djokovic began to return to form at Monte Carlo, where he won his first 2 matches in straight sets. Taking his time to rebuild his game, Djokovic got back to winning ways, taking home the 2018 Wimbledon title to claim his first Grand Slam victory in over 2 years.
It was a difficult journey, but like any journey in life, you know, you have to experience some ups and downs, and you make mistakes that you learn from. But that's our human experience, you know. We have to, in order to evolve, we have to make mistakes and learn from them. After I had my surgery of the elbow, I came back too early on the tour, and I knew I probably, right now I know that I had to take more time, but at the same time I don't regret decisions, because at the time it was something that I felt instinctively I should do. And it all contributed to where I am at the moment. And I'm really grateful that I got to peak and to play my best tennis at the most special tennis venue in the world, and to share it with the closest people in my life, to have my son there and clapping and seeing himself on the big screen and giving me a hug after the match. That's something that I've never experienced before, and it's just I'm overwhelmed with all the emotions.
Having won his first title of the season, Djokovic began to once again climb the rankings, reaching the number 10 spot. Continuing his form into the US Open, Djokovic took home his 14th Grand Slam title, putting himself back into the top 3 rankings. Now ranked number 2, Djokovic had his chance to reclaim the top spot when he faced Federer at the Paris Masters.
It's Novak Djokovic that prevails in a Parisian classic. 3 hours of intense competition as he takes down his old rival Roger Federer. The win streak continues. Emotions running oh so high for the man who will be, of course, the world #1 once again on Monday. He'll try to celebrate in the best possible fashion tomorrow. He's into the Paris final.
Having now claimed his number 1 spot back, Djokovic seemed unstoppable.
I believe that every season, every year brings a different kind of set of challenges, but also some moments that define you as a person or as a tennis player, an athlete. Probably one of the biggest takes I had in the last couple of years is that it really does depend only on me whether I'm going to take these challenging situations and obstacles as an opportunity to grow and to rise, to get better, or I'm gonna let them defeat me.
Well, remarkable. A year ago we talked about him, and then he was just going through a break and elbow surgery, and was just trying to find his feet again in tennis. And for him to catapult himself back like that, was not to be expected, but he's a champion, a champion's mentality. He knows what it takes to win, and he's full on it.
Claiming a further 6 Grand Slam titles over the course of 3 years, becoming only the 3rd man to win all 4 Grand Slams twice.
A moment afterwards, too, to say thank you to his fans.
Fingers crossed the whole way through. The whole match was so close, so exciting.
It was such a long match. I feel like I've been through 5 sets and more.
By next year, Roger Federer will be almost 39, and so a 9th Wimbledon title may eventually prove beyond him. For Novak Djokovic, he'll already be thinking just how many can he add to his 5.
Having re-established his position as the best tennis player in the world, with a record-breaking 310-plus weeks at #1, it seemed as though nothing could stop Djokovic.
Well, I'm a big believer in natural healing. I'm a big believer that, you know, if we, I guess, treat our bodies right, and, you know, our bodies have the capacity and ability to heal. I respect, of course, you know, the conventional ways of treating an injury, and I just feel like, for me at least, surgery is a last resort. I've tried to always nurture that kind of holistic approach to life because I'm a big believer in nature, so to say. I really believe that our bodies are smart enough, and as long as we are supportive and not destructive with them.
Very sadly, overnight, 87 more people have died, bringing the total to 422. And our hearts go out to their families and their friends. Yesterday, the Prime Minister announced the most radical steps yet to slow the spread of this virus. And these steps are not requests, they are rules.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
With COVID-19 seemingly taking over, sports around the world, including the ATP, were forced to postpone events. With the rollout of the vaccine came the gradual return to sports. However, as the vaccine isn't mandatory, countries had to make tough decisions on the unvaccinated.
Clearly, I share very strongly the view of the Australian authorities. It's a very good idea to get vaccinated.
I'm a big believer in natural healing.
Tennis Australia gives Novak the green light. He applies for a visa to come to Australia. You apply for the visa, you're granted a visa. When you arrive in a country, particularly in Australia, you are stopped by officials who put you through a verification process. This is the point at which he's picked up.
I guess the big question is, in Australia, can you be granted a visa with a vaccine exemption if you can prove that you've had COVID recently?
You should be able to, but the fact that Djokovic has been refused permission to enter at the border is suggestive of a bit of undue interest by the government.
I do think that he has flown into the eye of a political storm. And you've got, I don't know if you've seen what's happening in Australia, but the number of cases in Australia have just gone through the roof.
Mr. Djokovic had arrived in Australia on a legally allocated visa to him.
So Djokovic is being, he's a scapegoat. He's been demonised by the Australian government. He's used as an example to lock him up in a detention centre.
as soon as Novak Djokovic got on Twitter and announced that he's coming to Australia, he's got a medical exemption, Australian Twitter went crazy, and I actually think that's behind what has happened to him.
On January 14, 2022, despite winning his appeal, Djokovic faced deportation from Australia.
Now, some people might think that's quite extraordinary. We as immigration lawyers see this kind of decision-making quite a lot. We see things come back from the court, and the Migration Act operates as follows, is that even if a court or a tribunal makes a decision, the minister can kind of swoop over from the top and make a fresh decision if he or she at the time doesn't like what the decision was by the courts or by the tribunals.
Mr. Djokovic, because of his past views on vaccinations, and because he had not got himself vaccinated, would stoke anti-vaccination sentiment within Australia, and that it would also lead to civil disorder in Australia.
I do think that he has flown into the eye of a political storm.
And given that Mr. Djokovic has a profile, I don't know whether this is real or not, but a profile as an anti-vaxxer, then that view is inconsistent with the Australian government's policy to encourage everybody to get vaccinated.
We see Novak Djokovic come in with exemptions despite actively undermining, really, the case for vaccination around the world. And we say this sends a terrible message to our community as well as the worldwide population.
People in the state have done it pretty hard over the last couple of years, and I think there is an anti-vaccine sentiment here. So anyone who comes out against vaccines and health protections is not going to be really well received.
I don't know how you can get a medical exemption when you play that, when you're that fit and you play and you're number one in the world.
It's about merit on what should be granted and what shouldn't, regardless of your name or your status in society.
Maybe everyone here is so sick of being under so many strict rules, they think everyone else should, well, you abide by them too. We've done the hard yards, maybe you can do it too for a couple of weeks.
While we have the pandemic raging everywhere, he's in trouble. Yep. And I think the bigger trouble for him also is that if Australia does this, it might actually put some backbone in other countries to say the same thing.
With Djokovic standing firm on his vaccine stance and tournaments unwilling to flex the rules, it's unknown when we could see him play again. With 5 stints at #1 spanning over 10 years, 86 ATP singles titles, 37 Masters events, and 20 Grand Slams, Djokovic has proven to be one of the best players to grace the court. Against the odds, Djokovic has made history in tennis, solidifying his name in a world once dominated by Federer and Nadal. However, with the sacrifice of the pandemic fresh in people's minds, it may not be his achievements Djokovic goes down in history for.